All right, a very good and early morning to everyone. The Second Region Child Protection Court number 1, Liberty County, is now in session. A little rusty on the Zoom.
I'm not muted.
Okay, very good. Can you all hear me?
All of y'all too.
Can you all still hear me? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. I can hear you now. A little rusty on the Zoom.
I'm not muted.
Okay, very good. Can you all hear me?
All of y'all too.
Can you all still hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Let me try to cure
Okay,
that looping.
I can hear you now. A little rusty on the Zoom. I'm not muted.
Okay. For an adversary hearing, we have Mr. Hip, Mr. Downing. Mr. Buck, are you there? I don't see Mr. Buck yet. If we can get an ETA on him. I see Mr. Hurst and Iverson.
Yes, sir.
If I can get everyone to mute their devices unless they're needing to talk.
Good morning, Judge. This is Ms. Williams. I just texted him for ETA.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Williams, and good
Yes,
morning.
sir. Good morning.
All right, Mr. Hurst, I believe both of your clients are present. And let me see about the mother, Summer Frige. Is she present, Mr. Downing?
Yes, Your Honor. She is under the Alcatel Volta TM.
Okay, very good. I'm going to rename that device. Now, what about Ronnie Cox?
I have texted him, but I have not gotten a hold of him. And I was going to ask you if I can have a little bit longer to also get a hold of him.
Well, you're welcome to keep trying. Let me see if somehow he is present virtually. Ronnie Cox. If you are appearing on the phone, press *6 to unmute. Otherwise, unmute your device, Ronnie Cox. All right, still waiting for his attorney, Mr. Buck. All right, Mr. Buck, good morning. I was just calling for your client. He's not present yet. My understanding is the mother is trying to contact him.
Thank you. I have not had a good contact information for him myself.
All right, very good. Thank you.
And
Okay.
Your Honor, I believe my client has contact information for him through like Facebook Messenger. I don't believe she has a phone number.
Okay. All right, very good. You heard that, Mr. Buck. Thank you.
I did.
Okay, well, let's, having called the case, again, the mother is present, the intervenors are present with counsel. Ms. Iverson, can you hear us okay? Good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. So let me take announcements, beginning with Mr. Hip. Mr. Hip, is the department ready?
Yes, sir, we're ready.
Okay, do you know whether this is agreed or contested or a little both?
A look. I don't know.
Okay, well, we'll see.
I don't know.
Okay, Mr. Downing, your announcement.
Your Honor, we're ready. I don't believe we have an agreement right now. My client wants her daughter back with her.
All right, very good. And Mr. Buck, I guess your announcement might be the same as just a moment ago.
Yes, I would. Since I haven't had contact with the client, it would be a not ready, Judge, at this time.
All right. Do you remember how we've had judges who have said, notwithstanding, I'll announce you ready? That might be the situation.
I understand. I understand.
Let me hear from Mr. Hurst and then Ms. Iverson, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. My clients stand on their intervention. I think the court's heard some testimony last week. It's my client's present situation is obviously not an absolute bar, so we're prepared to go forward at this point in time, at least until the mother can demonstrate she's back on her feet.
All right. Thank you. And Ms. Iverson, are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, sir. I've met with the child. I've met with the placement. I've spoken with the would-be placement. Have not visited that home. I didn't have time, but I've seen Ms. Martin's pictures of it.
Okay. So Ms. Martin,
I'm ready.
Ms. Martin has met with and been in the home of the intervenors, to your understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Let me, since I heard pictures mentioned, let me go ahead and enable the screen share if that is needed at some point. We'll certainly want to address whether we need to get off YouTube before introducing any pictures, but that feature has been enabled just in case. All right. Let me once again call for Ronnie Cox. Ronnie Cox. I don't believe anyone has entered. No one's in the waiting room. No answer. Mother and intervenors again are present. Okay. Any requests for opening statements beyond this morning and last time we were in court?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Hip, you may call your first.
Call the intervener, the woman, I believe.
Christie,
Huh?
Christie.
Yeah. I'd call her. State your name, please, ma'am.
I'm sorry, Judge. I don't have an opening statement. I just, I'm going to inquire about the court schedule today. Was there a time frame we had available and then we had to end by? Just because I have another court later as well. And I apologize, Richard. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
We have this morning available, and we have a docket this afternoon, but I believe the case on it might fill it up. So
Okay.
This morning.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, thank you.
And Judge, just to remind you that I'm supposed to be in Walker County virtually at 9:30.
At 9:30?
Yes, sir. I have 3 or 4 cases on that 9:30 docket.
Okay, all right. Well, we will we'll cross that bridge when we get there, and we'll try to do what we can. We do have another case this morning that we might need to jump to and pause this one. Let's see where we go. So, okay, ma'am, I believe you've been sworn, called. You were going to state your name, please.
Great technology when it works.
We had gotten really good at this a while back.
Oh, yeah.
So good, I think I shredded my cheat sheet. Now I regret it.
Goodness gracious.
Can you mute it?
Yes, I'll tell you what. Why don't you log out on the device that has the video? Log out. We'll take your testimony by phone, but go ahead and log back in, and we'll see if I can at that point mute you. Because if I can mute your video screen and take your testimony by phone, that would be better than just audio. Closing arguments. Go ahead, Mr. Hip. I'm sorry.
I believe she was going to tell us what her name is.
Yes.
Kristen Carm Houlihan.
Ms. Houlihan. Now, how do you know the mother in this case?
I met the mother in October through a mutual, well, actually it was a cousin. She's a friend of Summer, and she called me in October and just let me know that Summer had recently lost somebody close to her and that she was struggling, and if I could reach out to help her, and that's what I did.
Okay. And so you didn't know her until then?
I did not, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
And what was she struggling with?
She was dealing with grief. She had lost somebody in a car accident, and she was struggling with, I hadn't met her prior, so I wasn't sure what she was prior to October, but I know whenever I met her in October, she was struggling heavily with some grief and maybe emotional trauma. I'm not really certain exactly what it was.
Okay. And what did you do for her?
So initially I just helped her a little financially so that she could get Mary Jane diapers and stuff like that, just doing whatever I could to help her that way. And then afterwards, I helped her by taking care of Mary Jane whenever she was needed me to.
Okay. And when did that begin?
October 23rd was the first time that I actually met Summer in person and met Mary Jane as well.
All right. And did she have a place to live, to your knowledge?
So at that time, I don't know where she was living. I met her at a
Jason, on her
convenience
sauces.
store.
After I don't know where she was living.
Sustained.
I'm sorry.
Sustained. Just wait for the next question, ma'am.
Where did you meet her?
I met her at a Shell station off of 1960 in Dayton, Texas.
Okay. And what do you know if she was living in her car?
Objection
time, I
has been
did.
answered.
Well, sustained unless the mother told her or she observed as much.
So I don't know if she was living in her vehicle or not.
All right, sustained. Next question.
Okay. And what did she tell you at that time?
She said that she needed some help with Mary Jane, and if I could pick her up, and that he appreciated it. That was pretty much. And so I met her at the Shell station, and then I followed her to pick up the baby.
All right. And so have you had the baby continuously since then?
No, sir, not continuously. We've had her a lot of the time, the majority of the time. Summer would come to our home and visit her, or sometimes she would pick her up and take her back to Dayton.
Okay. And what is the greatest length of time that you've had her?
I would say like maybe 2 weeks.
Don't you can't get any help while you're testifying, Ms.
Oh,
White.
okay, sorry. I would say right under 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then her mother would pick her up for 24 or 48 hours. And there was
who's-
no, go ahead.
Whose mother?
Mary Jane's mother would pick
Okay.
her up.
All right. Okay. Go ahead.
And Mary Jane's mother would come and pick her up. And then when she had her and I would stay in touch with Summer. And whenever she needed me to come and pick her up, I would go to Dayton and pick her up, pick Mary Jane back up.
Okay. Now you filed an intervention in this case. What exactly is it you want the court to do?
I would like Mary Jane to be placed in our care while Summer is doing what she needs to do to get back on her feet, whatever that is required by the state. I don't know what that looks like. But I would like Mary Jane in our care and out of foster care.
Is the mother currently capable of taking care of that child on a full-time basis?
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Do you know if the mother is currently capable of taking care of the child on a full-time basis?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation or improper opinion evidence.
Okay, overruled. You may answer.
I do I have to answer that question?
If you don't know, simply you can answer. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
Have you ever seen the mother on drugs?
Yes.
When?
Whenever I've picked Mary Jane up from Dayton.
Just once?
No, sir.
On how many occasions?
Several.
Did the mother ever tell you what drugs she was doing?
Yes, sir.
What did she tell you?
Meth and Xanax, but I believe she has a prescription for Xanax.
Okay. Would you like to adopt this child?
So my hopes is that Summer gets her life together and becomes the best mother for Mary Jane. But if she does not do that, then I would love to adopt Mary Jane. But right now, our hopes are to take care of Mary Jane, keep her safe. She knows us, she loves us, we love her, and we want to give Summer an opportunity to make her wrongs right.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Downing.
Have you ever seen, you've never seen Summer Strickland do any sort of illegal substance, have you?
I have not.
And you met Summer through a mutual friend?
Yes, that is correct.
And is that friend your cousin?
That is correct.
Okay, and Miss Strickland told you and Your Honor, just for clarification purposes, Summer Free J is really Summer Strickland. That's her
Okay.
legal name.
All right, thank you, Mr. Downing.
I'm sorry, that's her what name?
Her legal name is Strickland, not Free J. And so just for clarification purposes, when I say Miss Strickland, I'm referring to Summer Free J, also known as Summer Strickland.
I got it.
All right, so and Summer's known your cousin for some time, right? Or she?
Yes, I would say 10 plus years, correct.
And so while she has recently met you, she's known your family for a while. Fair?
That is fair to say, yes, sir.
Okay, and Summer's not from Texas, is she?
I don't know if she's from Texas. I know that my cousin has only lived in Texas. And I know Summer came to Texas, I think, September of 22.
And that was dealing with the decline of her family member?
No. So she did have a decline. She did have another loss in her family. Yes, her stepfather has just passed away. But that was he got sick and passed away immediately. She came to Texas because she was having her husband at the time was physically abusive, and so I believe the state helped her get back to Texas.
And sometime at the end of last year, Miss Strickland was in a car wreck, right? Or a motorcycle accident.
Yes, she was in a car accident and a motorcycle accident. That is correct.
And to your knowledge, have any police charges come out of that motorcycle wreck or car wreck?
I don't believe so. No, that's not to my knowledge. No, sir.
So she's on medication for that car. The motorcycle wreck was fairly significant, serious, right?
Yes.
How long was she in the hospital following that motorcycle wreck?
I would say it would be a week. I don't know exactly. I would say a week at least.
When was that motorcycle wreck?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think it was in December. It was in December.
Okay. And to your knowledge, is she taking any medication resulting from that currently?
Oh, I'm sure she's. I don't know for sure what she's on, but I'm sure she's on some sort of. She broke her leg, so I'm sure she's on some sort of pain medication.
Okay. And Miss Strickland never told you she was taking any illegal substances, did she?
Legal?
Illegal.
Since her car accident or prior to her car accident?
Since you met her in October, she has never told you she took illegal substances, did she?
Yes, she did.
When did she tell you?
Well, when exactly? There's been several instances that she told me that because we've offered to help her get clean.
Okay, so when's the first time she told you she had done meth?
I would say when I first started talking to her in October.
Okay, what did she tell you?
Said that she needs. She's said several times that she needs to stop using drugs or stop using meth. and I don't remember the date, sir.
So she came to you for help with Mary Jane, correct?
I'm sorry.
Summer came to you for help with Mary Jane.
Actually, I contacted her first after my cousin Danielle said to please reach out to her. I contacted her first, but whenever I offered help, she accepted.
And I apologize, I didn't hear the date when you said, when did you first start keeping Mary Jane for Summer?
October 23rd was the first time that I picked her up from one of Summer's friend's house.
Okay. And you're not a doctor, are you?
No, sir.
So you can't diagnose anybody, or you've never seen a urinalysis or hair follicle from Summer?
Oh, no, sir.
Okay, so you don't know if at any point she was under the influence when you met with her, do you?
I do.
So you saw her do the drugs?
I didn't see her do the drugs, but I've seen her under the influence of drugs.
Sustained.
So how many people do you have any background in drugs?
I don't, but with my husband,
Yes,
we go to.
I don't.
Sustained.
I'm sorry.
So you're not an expert in drug treatment, rehab, anything like that, are you?
So I volunteer at a drug detox facility every Wednesday and Saturday. Magnolia City Detox off of 242 in the Woodlands. So I'm familiar with people when they first come in off of drugs. Yes, sir.
And what do you
while
do
they're
there?
still, I'm sorry.
What do you do there?
So we facilitate, my husband's in recovery. We facilitate meetings. We give phone numbers if they need rides to meetings. We bridge the gap between helping them whenever they get out of detox and helping them find a recovery home. We give just tools to help them to make sure that once they get out of detox that they have a firm foundation for recovery.
So if Miss Strickland passed a hair follicle and urinalysis, you'd believe that she was clean?
I believe that she was clean now. Yes, sir.
Okay. So you believe today she's clean?
I do.
And
I know that. Go ahead.
if you can say what you're going to say.
I do believe that she's definitely, I do believe that she is worried about Mary Jane, and I believe that right now she is clean.
Do you believe that she's a good mom?
I believe that she could be a good mother.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Buck.
Thank you, Judge. Ma'am, have you ever met the father in this case?
No, sir.
Okay. And are you and your husband asking for temporary custody at this time?
We are. Yes, sir.
Okay. And if you and your husband have temporary custody, are you going to be able to work with the mother, in your opinion?
What do you mean by work with the mother?
Visitations, discussing the child's needs and keeping her involved in the child's life.
I believe, yes, sir.
Okay. All right. With that being your answer, is there any need for the state to be involved if you are able to have T&C in your opinion?
I believe that I trust the state's opinion or decision, and so whatever they see fit is exactly how we will proceed.
Okay. But my question is, are they necessary if you have temporary custody and you're able to work with the mother?
What is necessary? I'm sorry.
The involvement, CPS being involved in this child and this mother in your lives.
So I what would it look like if they weren't involved? I'm
Well, I'll ask it another way. If
okay. Yes, sir.
if you have temporary custody and you and your husband have the right to make decisions that are in the best interest of the child, and mother has visitation rights and she's entitled to be informed, would you be able to handle that situation on your own without the state being involved?
So I believe that we would be able to handle the situation. We would just need some sort of guidelines on, whenever we've had Mary Jane before, we've had, the only issue we had before was Summer wanting to pick her up sometimes late hours. And that would be my only concern. Like if she wanted to visit her, it would just be during I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what visitation looks like. So it would just need to, be during Mary Jane's schedule, if that would be okay. But no, there's no opposition to dealing with Summer directly. No, sir.
Okay. And do you have any idea when the last time this child's father saw the child?
I have no idea.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. I pass the witness.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hurst.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ms. Houlihan, you have been staffed or vetted by some representatives of the department, have you not?
Yes, sir. CPS and CASA.
Okay. Has anybody voiced any objection to having this child placed in your home other than the problem with Mikey's probation?
No, sir. We've actually, from Josh and from Miss Tracy, both representatives from the department voiced that their hopes would be for her to be able to come here.
So your home is you're equipped, you make sufficient money, you've got food, groceries, lights, every utility available to provide a safe habitat for this child, correct?
We do. She even has her own room here.
Okay. And you're not opposed to acting under a court order with any restrictions or guidelines that this court may put on you, correct?
No issue with that at all. We'll follow to a T.
So if the state was to remain involved, if they ordered you to assist the mom in accepting or taking her to services, you would do your utmost, make that effort the best of your ability, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
You didn't ask for this to take place in the beginning in October, did you?
No, sir.
Okay. But right now, you're ready to willing to take on this task, correct?
That is correct.
Your Honor, that's all I have for this witness.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Iverson.
Your husband maintaining his sobriety at this point?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any concerns about your husband maintaining his sobriety at this point?
I do not. He is very active, very, very active in his recovery.
And you were with him when he was struggling with addiction to drugs, correct?
I'm sorry?
You were on that journey with him? You were with him when he was struggling with addiction?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
And how long has he been sober now?
Today marks 3 years of recovery for him.
So at this point, this is not something that would affect the child in any negative way, correct? Where she can be placed back with you?
Oh, no, that would not be negative at all. No, he's been doing his due diligence in recovery.
And in that sense, it may even now where he stands now and as active as he is now, it may even be a positive thing for her.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll pass witness.
Right. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Hip.
Ma'am, the child was not with you when the mother was involved in the motorcycle accident, correct?
She was not with us. That is correct.
Okay. So do you know anything about how the motorcycle accident occurred?
I do not.
Okay. But who brought the child to you when the mother?
Two of Summer's friends, Allie and her name's Allie and Donna, they brought her to us.
Okay. And all right, thank you. That's all I have. Pass the witness.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions from anyone for Ms. Houlihan?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Hip, you may call your next.
Call the mother.
All right.
State
Your
your name.
Honor, her device died, so she is no longer on the Zoom right now. I told her to log back on as soon as she could.
Okay. I do know that she dropped off once and logged back on, and right as I was correcting her name on the device, it dropped off again. So I will keep an eye out on the waiting room. Mr. Hip, you may call your next.
Call the investigative caseworker. State your
All
name,
right.
please.
Let me make sure Mr. Cullen, is it Cullison, was sworn in?
Yes, sir. I was sworn in.
Okay, thank you so much. You may proceed.
And when did you get involved in this case?
I received the case November 6th. The case originally came in over the weekend, and I was assigned to it on the Monday following.
All right. And what did you do at that time?
So I reviewed the case history of the parent. The parent had previous children removed in previous
Objection,
cases.
non-responsive.
Sustained after I reviewed the case.
I reviewed the case history.
Wait for the next question.
Yes, sir.
And what did you do next?
I attempted to locate addresses, drove by past residences that were in the case history.
Okay. Were you successful in locating the mother?
Not at first, no, sir.
When did you first locate the mother?
We got an address through a family friend who gave us a 49.
Don't say her address. Don't say her
Yes,
address.
sir. Sorry. I found the address and then we drove by it. I had a description of the vehicle and I attempted making searches locating that vehicle.
Okay. And were you successful?
Yes, on November 16th, I did locate the vehicle at that residence.
Did you talk to the mother?
Yes, sir. Myself and a special investigator that was assigned to the case did make contact with the mother, who was with the presence of another gentleman.
And did you ask the mother about the child?
Yes, sir. The mother insisted that the child was safe and that the child was in a safe place, but the mother insisted that the child was in Colorado, not in Texas.
Not in Texas. But she didn't tell you with whom the child was in Colorado?
No, sir. She would not cooperate at all.
Okay. And what did you do after that?
We attempted to get more information from the mom and she refused. And then eventually we had to pull out of the residence because the gentleman she was with was getting aggressive.
Okay. And what did he do?
He was taking his shirt off and puffing up. He appeared under the influence of a controlled substance.
Okay. Now, were you ever able to locate this child?
Yes, sir. Our special investigator was able to locate the child with Mrs. Kristen and Michael, and we made contact with the family at the residence.
And when was that?
That was
Your Honor, I'm going to object to Mr.
Mr.
Collins
Collins,
from something.
Yeah, Mr. Cullison, if you need to, don't read or testify from any documents. If you need your memory or recollection refreshed, just let us know.
I want to say it was, I'm sorry, Your Honor, it was approximately mid-November,
Okay.
Late November.
And where was the child then?
The child was in the custody of Mrs. Kristen and Mr. Michael.
Okay. And so you made contact with them?
Yes, sir.
And what did they tell you?
They told me they received Mary Jane through originally assisting her, trying to get her sober and offering her help. Mary Jane came in their custody when the mother, Summer, could not care for her at the time.
Okay. And at that time, you did not remove the child from the Houlans, correct?
No, sir. We gave Mr. Michael a drug test and ran backgrounds. And at the time, the family was a safe place for the child.
Okay. Now,
was that, Mr. Cullison, you said the family was a safe place at that time. Was that subsequent to you receiving any drug test results back?
Yes, sir. The drug test for Michael came back negative. At the time, the family was originally speaking with a lawyer to try to get conservatorship of the child.
Right. Thank you. Next question.
What changed?
So unfortunately, the family did not have any court orders to keep Mary Jane in their custody. So the mother came back and collected the child and disappeared for the time being with the child.
And do you know how long that was?
So she collected the child near the end of November, I want to say, Your Honor.
Okay. And then were you still actively, well, at that point, were you looking for the mother and the child again?
Yes, sir. I was making attempts on the old addresses every day, driving by and attempting to locate. Until I received a telephone call.
From whom?
Mr. Michael notified me that the mother was in a vehicle accident.
Okay. And did he tell you that they had the child again?
Yes, sir. Mr. Michael was very able to help give me information on where the child was being located.
Okay. And at that point in time, did you remove the child? When did you remove the child?
When Mr. Michael was able to get the child into his custody, I was notified to come be able to collect the child.
Okay. Who told you that?
Mr. Michael. They were very helpful in assisting with this case.
Okay. All right. Now, if the court decides to place the child with them, with the Houlihan, do you have any concerns about the child there?
No, sir. Upon my inspection of the residence, the family themselves had bought everything the child was needing, from clothes to bedroom. They had a monitor set up over the bed to watch the child while they were sleeping. Everything seemed appropriate. Per DFPS policy, we're just unable to place the child with them.
Okay. And that's because of his background?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Michael's background?
Yes, sir. Mr. Michael's background.
Okay. Did you have any more contact with the mother?
I did contact the mother at the hospital she was currently admitted to.
And what did she tell you?
She did not want to talk to me, Your Honor. I did serve her a order of participation, court order, to allow me to see.
Non-responsive.
Sustained.
Just tell me what she told you.
She told me to get out of the room, Your Honor.
Okay. And what did you do?
I left the room.
Did you gave her an order?
Yes, a court order to participate.
Okay. And that was the last contact you had with the mother?
No, Your Honor. I contacted the mother after the removal of the child.
And what did she tell you then?
Get out of the room again.
Okay. She was still in the hospital?
Yes, sir.
How long do you know how long she was in the hospital?
Approximately about 2 weeks.
Okay. Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right.
Well, I'm sorry. Wait, can I ask one more question?
You may.
Did you ever ask the mother to take a drug test?
No, Your Honor. No, she refused to participate.
Okay. Did you offer her one?
I never got the chance to. I was always told to leave.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Pass the witness.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Downing.
If a mother did take a hair follicle UA, would that alleviate your concerns about drug usage? If
that would be a step in alleviating my concerns.
Okay. So if she has a clean hair follicle, to your knowledge, how far do hair follicles go back?
Hair follicles usually go about 90 days.
So cover the entire time period where you've been involved with this family, correct?
Yes, sir.
So if that's clean, that would alleviate your concerns, would it not?
No, sir.
Would that not show that she was sober that time, for that time period?
That would, sir.
Okay. So that would alleviate concerns regarding drug testing, correct?
About her drug use, yes.
Okay. Do you have any other? You don't have any other concerns listed in your affidavit, do you?
No, sir.
So if your concerns in the affidavit are about her utilizing drugs, wouldn't that alleviate your concerns in the affidavit?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any concerns about, do you have any safety concerns about the child with the hula hands?
No, sir.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Buck.
Sir, have you had any contact with the father in this case?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. I pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hurst.
I have no questions for this witness, Judge.
All right, thank you, Ms. Iverson.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Back to you, Mr. Hip.
I'd call the mother again.
Frige, no one's presently in the waiting room. No answer. I do not see the device that she was on earlier. All right, any other witnesses, Mr. Hip?
Yes, Casa.
All right, Ms. Martin, you were sworn, yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. You may proceed.
Ms. Martin, I believe Mr. Hurst indicated, or the father or the mother, someone indicated that you had been out to their house.
Yes, sir. I went out on Saturday.
And what did you observe?
I observed a safe, clean home. The Hoolahans visited with me for about 2 hours, and we talked about concerns. We talked about, just things about Mary Jane and how they would care for her and how they would be a help in the whole case.
Okay, and what was your opinion?
I didn't have any safety concerns with Mary Jane being placed with them. I feel they will be safe, and I feel they will be protective of her, and they will take good care of her.
Okay. Pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Mr. Downing.
Have you seen Mary Jane with the hula hands?
I have not. I visited her in placement, so I've only seen her in that setting.
Do you have any opinion about whether or not Mary Jane should be placed with the hula hands?
I think she has a bond with them because when I visited Mary Jane at placement, the first thing she asked me was about Coco, which is Kristen. So I know she's bonded to them. And I think that she needs as many safe connections as we can provide her.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right.
My time is logging back in.
Okay, yes, I believe Ms. Strickland, are you there? All right. Any other questions from anyone for Ms. Martin, Mr. Buck, Mr. Hurst, Ms. Iverson?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Martin, did you discuss is it Michael, what's your last name again? Is it Houlihan?
It is Houlihan, Judge.
Okay, all right. Sorry about that. Thank you. Ms. Martin, did you discuss with Mr. Houlihan his probation and?
Yes, sir. He gave me his probation officer's name and number, which he said we're welcome to contact. I have not done that yet, but yeah, we talked about all that.
Okay, did you find him to be candid with you in that interview?
Yes, he didn't hold anything back as far as any questions I have. He answered them very straightforward.
All right. Do you feel like you are clear on the circumstances regarding his probation and any underlying offense?
Yes, sir. I don't have any concerns with it.
Okay. So you make your recommendation in light of that or notwithstanding that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from anyone for Ms. Martin?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Hip, back to you. I believe we have Ms. Strickland. If you can unmute Ms. Strickland.
Okay, I'm here. I'm sorry, my phone's having issues. It keeps dying.
Okay, let me see. Before you were sworn in, yes, Ms. Strickland? Ms. Strickland? While we're waiting, Ms. Iverson, are you able to touch base with Walker County and let them know you may be a couple of minutes late?
I will. And I believe that they moved me from the beginning of the docket anyway, so I'm okay.
Okay, okay. All right, thank you.
For at least a little bit. Yes, sir.
I get you. Okay, thank you. Ms. Strickland. Okay, I believe that her device dropped off again. We'll give her a quick minute. Did you have any other witnesses other than the mother, Mr. Hip?
No, sir.
Okay. And how many witnesses do you have, Mr. Downing?
It would just be my client, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Buck? Mr. Hurst?
Judge, I just have Mr. Houlihan briefly.
All right, thank you, Ms. Iverson. Did you have any witnesses? Okay. All right, while we're giving the mother a chance to reappear, let me remind us that we are proceeding virtually this morning by agreement. This hearing is also being recorded to the cloud. Zoom cloud, that is.
Your Honor, if Mr. Hurst wants to take his client out of turn,
let's do that. Yeah, thank you.
That's fine with me.
Okay, all right, thank you. So we won't wait all day for the mother, but we will give her a chance. So, Mr. Hurst, if you please, you may call Mr. Houlihan.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Houlihan, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank my proceed, Judge.
You may, please. Thank you.
Would you state your name for the court, please?
Michael Houlihan.
Mr. Houlihan, you joined with your wife, Kristen, to file an intervention on behalf of this child. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Notwithstanding the fact that CASA and the caseworker have already established that your home is fit for this child, I want to ask you a couple of questions just to eliminate or try to eliminate any concerns the court may have about your probation. Where are you currently on probation at?
I'm currently on probation in Walker County. Well, it's Reeves County, but it's in Walker County.
Okay, you report directly to Walker County, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, are you subject to being randomly drug tested?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so far you've been doing perfectly okay on probation, correct?
Yes, sir. The only thing they might say is do more community service.
I got you. Other than that concern, you understand that if the court placed this child in your home, the court could put any and all restrictions that it deemed fit and necessary to protect this child. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And you're perfectly willing to abide whatever conditions that this court may put on you or your wife to have this child in your home?
Sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's all I have, Judge.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Iverson.
I'm going to ask you some questions too.
Houlihan, do you feel completely confident in your ability to remain sober?
Yes, ma'am.
Will you continue doing the things that you are currently doing to remain so?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a witness.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hip.
Yes, sir. It's my understanding that you're, do you actively work with people in recovery?
Yes, sir. I do.
What do you do?
I sponsor people in AA and NA. I go to detox and speak with them, and I help other alcoholics and addicts.
All right.
Any way possible.
With regard to this mother, when did you first meet her?
I first met her in person. It was the first probably week we had the baby, and she wanted her back. So I went with my wife to drop her off, and that's when I met Summer.
Did you have any concerns about the mother at that time?
Yes, sir.
What were your concerns?
Yes, I did.
What were they?
Like how she's still walking. I mean, when I met her, she was, let me see. When I met her, she was slurring, going about. A motorcycle had ran out of battery down the street from their house, and they were trying to jump it off. It was clearly addict behavior, you know, and I told my wife then, I said, hey, this ain't good.
What,
You know, I got in her call. Sorry.
you said it, that was, I'm sorry, did you say that was clearly addict behavior?
Yeah, addict behavior. Yes, sir. The way she was running around and slurring and didn't know her ass from a hole in the wall.
Okay.
You know,
And
I was concerned then. I told my wife we should not leave the child then.
okay. But you did anyway. Yeah. Correct.
Yes, sir, I had to.
Yeah. Okay. Now, did you meet the mother again?
Yes, sir. After that, she'd come to my house to pick up the child. One other time.
Did she appear to be under the influence at that time?
I mean, she's always slurring.
Okay. And that time, did you have any concerns about letting the baby go with her?
No, sir, because she was with Allie.
Okay. So she was with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who appeared to be sober?
Yes, sir.
All right. Have you ever had any conversations with the mother about her drug use?
Yes, sir.
What did she tell you?
Says she don't have a problem.
She said what?
She told me she didn't have a drug problem and she didn't want to go to rehab.
She does not have a drug problem?
That's what she told me.
And she did not want to go to rehab?
Nope, because I offered then. I said, hey, I know people at this detox. We could probably get you in and change your life. I mean, I did.
And she didn't take you up on that?
No, sir. She says she does not have a drug problem.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Thank you, Mr. Downing.
No question, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Buck.
No questions, Judge. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Hurst.
No further questions for Mr. Houlihan, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
No. All right. Thank you. Ms. Iverson, I believe you said you had no witnesses, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Let me call again for Summer Strickland. Summer Strickland. Summer Strickland. All right. No answer. I do not see her previous device, nor is anyone presently in the waiting room.
Your
All
Honor,
right.
about 5 minutes ago, she told me she needed to charge her phone for 10 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes ago, she told you she needed 10 minutes to charge something. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor, get back online.
Okay, I'm going to give her 5 more minutes, and then I will receive her testimony at that time or closing arguments. So
Yes, Your Honor.
we'll be on hold in this case for 5 minutes. Let me check for the mother, Summer Strickland. Summer Strickland. This is cause number 23DC-CV01817 in the interest of MF for an adversary hearing. Summer Strickland. All right, no answer. I don't see her device, and no one is presently in the waiting room. All right, so the court is ready to receive any closing arguments. Do you have any at this time, Mr. Hipp?
I'll waive it unless everybody else is going to make some comments, and then I'll reserve mine to the end.
All right, very, very good, Mr. Downing.
Yes, Your Honor, I don't think the department's met their burden here to show anything regarding drug use on my client. I believe that my client would like to do a hair follicle and UA and get those results to prove that she hadn't been using, and she believes that those results will be clean. And so we would ask that she be ordered to take the hair follicle and UA to prove sobriety. Now, as far as placement, we want to get Mary Jane out of foster care, and we believe that the Houlihan's or, Michael and Kristen are a viable placement if the department is named TMC, or, if Michael and Kristen are named TMC, we believe that that'd be a good placement for Mary Jane. It's safe, stable, And so if the child cannot be returned to the mother, she wants the child to be returned or placed with the Houlihan's, so that the child, Mary Jane, can be removed out of foster care and be with somebody she's familiar with, somebody she knows. That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Buck.
I would waive, Judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hurst.
Judge, I concur with Mr. Downing. I think that I actually believe that the Houlihan's is the best placement at this point in time. And I think the department needs to remain involved at this point in time in order to offer services to the mother should services be needed. It would be kind of redundant or a step back to eliminate the department this time and then have to bring them back in case something was to happen to the mother. So I think at this point, if the court's inclined to name the department as a managing conservator, that the child should be placed with the Houlihan's. That's all I've got, Judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hurst. Ms. Iverson.
Judge, the placement, it needs to be stated, is fantastic. They have only had her for 2 weeks, and she has come so far in just those 2 weeks. She is definitely bonded with them. I'll add, if I've met, she is the most precious little angel. But if I've met a more love-starved child, I don't remember. The very first thing she did to both Miss Martin and myself was put her little arms up in the air and say,
Overruled.
not hearsay.
Go ahead.
Put her arms up in the air and say, "Hold me." She also asked me for cocoa. I didn't know until Miss Martin said that meant Kristen. That's what she
Again, it's hearsay, Your Honor. That's what the child said.
Sustained.
So although I think that she's in a great place, I think that it is important for her to be with someone she clearly is bonded with and has more of a history with. And that also is clear that if the mother cannot get her act together, that they would keep her forever. And I do believe it's appropriate for the department to remain involved in this child's life.
All right, Ms. Iverson, thank you. Mr. Hitt.
I concur with Mr. Hurst and Ms. Iverson. Now, in terms of the mother proving she's clean, that would be great. But you have to remember the testimony was that she refused to even talk to CPS. And additionally, it's impossible to just completely disregard the testimony of the Houlihan's with regard to the mother and her behavior and her drug use. Those people are not just strangers out on the street. These people are significantly involved in the recovery process with other people. Their observations cannot be dismissed. And I would urge the court to, if the court is inclined to place the child with the Houlihan's, then I would urge the court, then name the agency as temporary managing conservator at this time, and we'll see what we can do for the mother.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Houlihan, are you willing in the future to submit to any and all drug tests and or alcohol tests that the department might deem to be appropriate?
Absolutely.
All right.
Anything y'all want.
All right, thank you. Let's see. Mr. Collison, where is the child? I know the child's in foster care. Where is the child geographically? What county?
Child is currently in Liberty County, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. At this time, based on the evidence and the best interest of the child, the safety of the child, the court, by the standard of a person of ordinary prudence and caution, does hereby make the requisite 262.107 findings, names the department as the temporary managing conservator of the child, denies any other requests for temporary conservatorship or otherwise. The court orders placement today. Mr. and Mrs. Houlihan, let me know if you're not able and willing to receive the child today. All right, not hearing that you're not, the court does order placement today of the child with Michael and Kristen Coco Houlihan again today. It is by and large all of our jobs to protect children and to help families reunited once a safe environment can be provided. So we are here to do that. And in part to that end, the court is going to order the mother submit to a hair follicle and a urinalysis whenever the department, or by when the department wants that. I have found the Houlihans to be both credible and appropriate as a placement of this child. I want to thank all of you for your good work, your legwork. Since we were last in court on this case, there are no parents present. The court will note father has not been present, mother has not been present during meaningful times in this hearing. So there are no parents present to admonish. If somehow they, one or both of them, are listening on YouTube, and we of course do that to maintain public access in open courts when the hearings are virtual from time to time, I'm going to go ahead and make the admonition, and it's this, that if at the end of the case you're not willing and able, parents, to provide a safe environment for your child, your parental rights may be further restricted or even terminated permanently. For adversary hearing, is the mother, Casey Hearn, present? I believe last time she was in the hospital. All right, what about the father, Vance Dever? And maybe somebody can tell me once and for all, is it Dever or Dever?
I don't know.
Okay.
The father is incarcerated in Liberty County Jail.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Gotten. I believe we got his agreement on the record last time we were here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Hipp, is the department ready?
I believe so. I'm just looking for my witness.
Okay, I see Ms. A device named Carla Carballo. I believe that may be her.
That's one of them. I'm also looking for somebody, Ms. Fellini.
Still taking announcements, Ms. Trousdale. Okay, Mr. Downing, are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm ready.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Lindsay, it's good to have you. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, Judge.
And I know you were appointed very, very recently. And I wonder if you have had a chance to visit with either Ms. Trousdale or Ms. Hearn.
I have not yet, Judge. I just received the order today, so I wasn't able to see Ms. Hearn, but I have not talked with Ms. Attorney Trousdale.
Okay, and I don't know if there's any updated locating information on her. If there is, I'm sure the department will get that to you forthwith. I see Ms. Trousdale's device.
Yeah, she may have to press *6. I know to unmute sometimes on phones if she's.
Yes, that's. But I don't show that she's muted. Ms. Williams, can you hear us?
Yes, sir, Judge. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Ms. Williams, I can. Thank you. Any word from Ms. Trousdale?
No, sir, Judge. I did text her. I'm just waiting to hear back from her.
Okay. Her last three are 597, correct?
It's 879.
I'm sorry?
Her last three is 879, I believe.
All right, we'll give Ms. Trousdale a few more moments.
Judge, she's in tribal court.
Okay, do you know when she might become available virtually?
That's what I'm asking right now.
Yes, okay, thank you.
She's in trial?
I believe tribal court.
1 hour later.
Thank you. So you're ready.
Yes, sir. I mean,
Return ready as you can be. I do understand. Okay. So I believe we do have everyone. Any further announcements from anyone? Any request for opening statements? With that, Mr. Hip, you may call your first, and Ms. Finelli, I'm going to change the name on your device again.
I do apologize, Judge. I try to do
No,
it
you don't
myself.
You don't need to apologize. I'm just so proud that I know how to do this. All right, I did earlier. Let's see. There we go.
Thank you.
The key is not to delete Shannon so as to save a little time.
Ms. Finelli, state your name, please.
Yes, it's Shannon Finelli.
And how are you employed?
I'm a nurse at Houston Methodist Baytown.
And as part of your employment, did you have a chance to encounter Casey Hearn after she had given birth?
I did.
Okay. And describe Ms. Hearn for the court, please.
So on what I found was, I guess you could say just poor eye contact, limited social skills. Her speech was inappropriate.
What do you mean? What do you mean by inappropriate?
When I was discussing her infant with her, she didn't respond with answers to her infant. She was responding with a conversation of something else, not regarding her infant.
I see.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I was going to tell you to go ahead. You were doing
Okay. At the time, I was trying to educate her regarding her infant and how to feed her infant. And at that time, she was not interested in holding her infant or feeding her infant.
Did she talk to you at all about her infant?
She did not.
Did she tell you? Did you talk to the father of the child?
I did.
And what did he tell you?
He actually did express interest in holding the infant, and he did feed the infant.
Okay, but Ms. Hearn did not.
That is correct.
And would you describe Ms. Hearn as someone who's on the autistic spectrum?
I'm not a physician, but I would see those tendencies. That is correct.
Okay. Did you believe that Ms. Hearn in any way had the ability to care for this newborn?
I did have general concerns about that.
Objection. Judge, objection calls for speculation.
Overruled. You may answer.
And Judge, may I ask a question really quick? I apologize for interrupting.
Yes.
Is the guardian litem present for Ms.
Yes.
You had appointed
Yes.
a guardian litem.
Yes, she is present. That's Ms. Ivory Lindsay.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. I'm sorry.
Not at all.
I forgot
Should
what
I
I asked.
continue? I apologize.
Sorry, Richard. Sorry, Richard.
That's the oldest strategy around. I believe your concerns regarding the mother's ability to care or not for the child.
At the time, I was trying to educate the mother on feeding the infant, and that was a concern of mine because the main objective is the infant going home with the mother and the father. And, you know, she had no interest in feeding her infant. So that was a concern of mine.
Needless to say, she wasn't breastfeeding the infant.
No.
Did she indicate to you that she did not want the infant?
She did not.
Okay. All right. Now, when the infant was discharged, who took the infant home, or do you know?
I do not know. I was not there that day. I was not working.
I see. Okay, so have we covered pretty much the extent of your interaction with Ms. Hearn?
That is correct. Yeah, she did not want to feed her infant, and she had no interest in it, and had no interest in holding him at that time.
Okay, thank you, Pastor Witness.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Ms. Trousdale.
Was that your only interaction with Ms. Hearn?
Yes, I only had that infant one day while I was working.
Okay.
Well,
And so have
actually,
you
I believe I had him 2 days. I apologize. I think I had him 2 days while I was working, but they did not come and see the infant the prior day.
Okay. Thank you. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gott.
I have no questions, Judge.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Downing.
Okay, so you said they didn't come and see the infant the prior day?
That is correct. They did not come the prior day.
And my name's Doug Downing. I represent the child.
Okay.
That's who I am. So how long was your shift that day?
12 hours.
And during that 12-hour period, they did not come see the child at all?
No,
Who handled the feedings during that 12-hour period of the child?
I did.
Okay. And was that a day shift or a night shift?
Day shift.
Okay. Was Miss Hearn in the hospital at that time?
No, she was not in the hospital at that time.
Okay. And the day you did have interaction with Miss Hearn and with Mr. Dever, were they together?
They were together.
And was that the day after the day they had no contact?
Correct.
And how long were they there that day?
A couple of hours. I don't recall how long, but it was a couple of hours.
Okay. Were they there for more than one feeding or just one feeding?
One feeding on my shift.
Okay.
The infant is fed every 3 hours, just so you're aware.
Right. And so how long was the child in your facility?
Oh,
If you recall.
I don't know. I know he was a 35-week premature infant. I don't remember how long.
Okay. And what complications, if any, did he have at birth?
He had something called RDS, respiratory distress syndrome.
What is that?
It's basically because he's a premature infant, the lungs aren't fully developed.
Okay. How does that manifest?
Because of prematurity, the lungs aren't developed.
What are the symptoms of it?
Oh, difficulty breathing. So normally they would need some sort of oxygen support.
So was he under a hood or?
I believe the infant did have to have CPAP, but I don't know. I haven't looked at the chart. I don't remember.
Understood. And do you know if he was discharged or how he was discharged, whether it was a normal discharge or against medical advice or what have you?
I believe it was a normal discharge. He wasn't discharged on my shift. But talking with my colleagues, he did discharge with mother and father at the bedside. Okay. And no devices or anything going home with. The infant was able to feed on his own.
Gotcha. Well, how was he eating?
Obviously with the help of someone feeding him.
Right. How was he eating when he was at the facility?
He had struggles in the beginning. A lot of times premature babies, you have to help them with like chin support, possibly paste feeding, things like that. He did struggle with that in the beginning, which is pretty normal with a premature baby. But by the end, he was ready to go home.
And I believe you said earlier that Miss Hearn had some autism tendencies. Can you kind of elaborate on what you saw that made you believe that?
Just really poor eye contact. She didn't want to look at me at all. Her like it was inappropriate communication. You know, like I said, I was trying to speak about her infant, and she was talking about something else entirely. And again, she didn't really have any interest in holding her infant or feeding her infant.
What concerns would you have if Miss Hearn were given her child today or had her child today?
I don't know how she is today. But at the time I did have concerns. I don't know if she's the same at this time.
Understood. I'll pass the witness, Sean.
All right, thank you. Ms. Finelli, do you recall the father's name?
All I know is Dever that you've been saying. I don't remember his name, Your Honor.
Okay. Did either of them tell you they were married or introduce the other as husband or wife?
No.
Okay. Did they tell you that he has signed an acknowledgement of paternity, or did you witness their signing it?
I did not.
Okay. Did you happen to be introduced by the parents to any other family members that might have been at the hospital?
I was not. When it was my shift, it was just him and her that came in together.
Okay. Based upon your observations of the child and your interactions with the parents, is it fair to say, accurate to say, that you don't have any concerns for drug use?
I don't believe I believe the infant might have been tested. I'm so sorry. I don't remember. He might have been tested, something called a UDS, or where we check for like urine or meconium. I do believe it might have been negative, but I honestly don't remember, Your Honor. I apologize.
So is it fair to say you don't have any concerns for drug use based on your observations of the child, your interactions with the parents?
That is correct.
Okay. Did the father or the mother, for that matter, express or address any issues or concerns about whether they were going to be able to take care of the child, whether the mother was going to be able to care for the child?
I did express, I'm sorry, go ahead. I apologize.
Were the divisions of duty of the child care? Go ahead.
I did express to the father that I had concerns that the mother was not feeding him or wanting to hold him. And he said to me that he would be home full time and he could feed the infant when he was there. I did express to him, I said, well, I had concerns because he was obviously not going to be there full time if he had a job, so that the mother would have to feed the infant. He did not answer me at that time.
So is it fair to say if that did not come to pass, your concerns would remain?
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions from anyone for Ms. Finelli?
I don't. I would like to apologize to her for all of the inconveniences I've put her through.
You're fine.
Judge, I'm sorry. I just couldn't get off mute. I do have a couple of questions.
Of course. Okay, yes, of course. And Ms. Finelli, this is Ms. Trousdale, attorney ad litem for the mother.
Okay.
And I would join Richard. I'm probably the reason for a big inconvenience today, so I apologize if you're waiting around on me. Are you aware of mom's mental capacity? What I mean is, were you provided any documentation, any medical history or anything like that with regards to her any mental disabilities or mental capacity in general?
No, ma'am. I wasn't aware of any of that.
Okay. And did she make any statements to you regarding any diagnosis, mental health diagnosis or anything like that?
She did not.
Okay. And when you spoke to Mr. Devers, did he make any comment or respond to any of your statements regarding your concerns for mom? Did he respond with any knowledge or concern himself for mom's mental capacity?
He said that he could care for the infant. That was my number one concern.
Okay. Okay. But he didn't make any statements regarding his concern for mom's mental capacity or any diagnosis for her or anything like that?
No, nothing at all.
Okay. Okay. That was it. Thank you. And again, I apologize.
That's okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions of Ms. Finelli?
No further questions of her.
Okay, all right, Ms. Finelli, they were all just being nice. It's my fault. Our apologies, and thank you so much for your patience and your assistance in this matter.
Anytime, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you for the work that you do. You are excused. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hip. You may call your next.
I call the caseworker. Did you state?
It's Carla Carballo.
And Ms. Caballo, do you know where the mother is at this time?
As far as I know, she's still at the hospital, St. Elizabeth.
And that's in Beaumont?
Yes.
Do you know why she's there?
She was taken by the EMS just by visible conditions. I'm not sure exactly what they saw, but she has been there since I made contact with the family.
Okay. So if the court were to order you to return this child to the mother or the father today, would you be able to do so?
Yes.
Well, okay. To whom would you return the child? To the mother in the hospital? To the father in the jail?
No, I mean, unless it's ordered, but no.
Okay. And it would not be safe for the child to be with either one of them where they are currently, correct?
Correct.
Did you have any interaction with Ms. Hearn?
I did, yes.
Okay. And I looked at the affidavit and you tried a number of times to get in touch with her, correct?
Correct.
Were you ever able to talk to her?
I only spoke to her once, but she refused to talk to me.
And when was that?
The only time I was able to talk to her was November 27th. Once the dad was arrested, I was able to speak to her and ask her to see if she was willing to talk to me. I advised her that we had a court order, and she still refused to talk to me. She asked us to leave, so we did. I did leave the documents, that were provided to her.
What court order was that?
The emergency.
Okay. Did you leave the baby with her also?
No, it was for the removal, and it was a notice of removal as well.
Okay, but she didn't talk to you during that process.
She did. She just kept saying, "No, I don't want to go. You need to leave." I introduced myself. I explained to her why I was there. I tried to interact with her, but she just kept asking for me to leave.
Okay. Did she give you any indication that she was able to care for that child?
No.
Where's the child currently?
Foster care.
Have you seen the child recently?
Not myself, no.
Okay, so you don't know how he's doing.
I mean, I'm sure he's doing well. We send a courtesy to Harris County, due to the child being out of our county. I was not able to lay eyes myself, but I know the information we got was that he was doing well. He was started to gain weight, so he's doing well right now.
All right, thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Ms. Trousdale.
What was your last communication with Ms. Hearn?
November 27th of myself.
I'm sorry, could you restate that? I didn't hear you.
My personal communication with her was November 27th.
Okay, that's the last time you talked to her?
Yes.
Okay, and are you still currently on the case?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Whenever you spoke with her, did she provide you with any of her medical history?
No, ma'am.
Did you speak to her about her medical history, including mental health?
No, ma'am.
Did you have concerns about her mental health when you met with her?
Yes.
Okay. And so but you didn't discuss those concerns with her?
No.
Okay. And when were you, I guess, off this case? When was the case transferred from you to someone else?
Yes, to CBS, but I don't know the exact date.
Okay. And is that Mr. Blanchard who now has the case? Is that correct?
I know his name is Caleb. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Caleb Blanchard. Okay, no, that's fine. Now, you said the baby's placed in foster care. When you spoke to Mom, did you talk to her about possible placement with family members or friends or anyone that she knew?
I did. I did.
Okay, did you provide her with a resource form?
I did.
Okay, and when was that provided to her?
November 27th.
Okay, and did you go over that resource form to her? Did you explain it to her?
I didn't go into detail with every document because she kept asking to leave, for us to leave.
Asking for you to leave. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, but is it fair to say you're not certain she understood all that you guys were asking of her?
Correct.
Okay. And do you know if since then, since you last saw her and provided her with that resource form, do you know if that resource form has been turned back into the department?
No.
Okay. Do you know if anyone else has approached her again since November 27th to ask her if she had any family or close friends that could provide for the child?
So, I know we sent someone to Belmont to check on her, but she was intubated, so she wasn't able to speak to anyone.
Okay. She was in ICU for at least a little while, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know the last time she's been visited by the department?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
If you know, when was the last time that she was visited by someone from the department?
I'm not sure exact date, but I know it was in December.
Okay.
Did you say it was or it wasn't?
Oh, I said it was in
Thank you.
December.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. I think that's it. I'll pass the witness, Judge. That's fine.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gott.
No questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Downing.
So, Ms. Carmine, in your investigation of this case, you did speak with somebody that told you that they were Mr. Devers' wife, correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
You did speak to somebody that, Patricia Dever, correct?
To Vance Dever?
Hey, Patricia Dever.
No. Not that I recall.
Okay. Your knowledge, is Vance Dever married? Or do you
I'm
know?
sorry, who?
Do you know if Vance Dever is married?
Yes.
Do you know who he's married to?
I know. I don't know the name.
Okay. It's not Casey Hearn, though, is it?
No.
And he's been estranged from his wife for 20-something years?
Correct.
Did you ever visit a house where Vance or Mr. Dever and Miss Hearn lived?
Yes.
What kind of house was that?
It was an RV.
Did you have any concerns about the house?
Yes.
What were those concerns?
It looked inhabitable. There was trash. It was very cluttered. There was a lot of pointy tools, just tools everywhere. I remember the steps where not properly, they were not stable. I didn't see any food, any water. There was no lights inside. Um, you could barely walk inside with all the items there. It's just a lot of trash, a lot of just tools, everything all around.
To your knowledge, did they have running water or any working utilities?
I did not see any water.
Did you see any working utilities while you were at the house?
No.
Are there any other concerns that you haven't mentioned that you have regarding this child?
Well, the concerns that I also had while talking to the father was that he told us, well, he told me that he used to sleep every night with the baby in his chest. And that's how he felt like the baby was going to be safe.
When you went in the residence, did you observe a crib or sleeping arrangements for the child?
No, honestly, there was a lot of baby items, but there was like stuff on top of everything that was there.
And how were the parents' appearance at that time?
The father was dirty. His nails were black and his fingertips were like yellow. I mean, the father looked like he hadn't showered in days. The mom was a very skinny. She looked like she was malnourished. She was only wearing a diaper and a t-shirt at the time of contact.
Who was only wearing a diaper and t-shirt?
Yes.
Who was
the
it?
mother? The mother.
What was the smell like when you went into the house? If you can describe it.
I don't know how to describe it, but it was like a fall smell. It smelled like something is rotten. I don't know how to describe it. It just didn't smell like something normal.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hipp, back to you.
No further questions of that witness.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from anyone for Ms. Carballo? All right, thank you, ma'am. Mr. Hipp, you may call your next, if any.
Do we have the current caseworker?
Would that be the Harris County courtesy worker? Or are you talking about?
I thought she said she transferred it to.
I think Caleb Blanchard, maybe.
Yeah, Mr. Blanchard. We do have Mr. Blanchard.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. You may proceed.
Have you seen the child recently?
Yes, sir.
When did you see him?
Last week.
How's he doing?
He's doing really well.
Okay. Would you? How old does that make him now?
He's 3 months old, I believe.
Okay. Would you say he's on target for his age?
He's a little behind developmentally. The foster moms got him started with ECI, just evaluated him, and he's starting with OT to get him his motor function up to par. He's about a month behind.
Okay. And have you had any contact with the mother?
I have not.
The father?
I did talk to the father at the jail.
What did he tell you?
We talked for a while. He told me about his charges. That you might have to ask some more specific questions.
Okay. Did he give you any names of any relatives that were able to care for the child?
He didn't give me a name. He stated that he has a brother that resides in San Antonio and works for the sheriff's office. He said he was going to reach out to his brother and have him contact me.
Okay. And you haven't gotten that phone call yet?
Not yet.
All right. And so the child's doing well. Neither parent is in a position to care for the child at this time?
That's correct. I did get an update from the grandmother in the hospital on mom. She'll be there at least 2 more weeks. She's still in very bad condition medically. So in addition to the mental health side of things, she's also medically very fragile right now.
Do you know what's wrong with her?
She had a pulmonary embolism. That's what she was in ICU for. And then that led to infection. She's currently got sepsis and a secondary infection in her bloodstream that's being treated through IV.
All right, thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Ms. Trousdale.
Caleb, you've been in touch with the maternal grandmother, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, would she be an appropriate placement in this case?
The department has concerns, both from a policy standpoint with her husband, and then also some concerns about her protective capacities based on the history.
Okay, have you testified that you've not had an opportunity to talk to mom given her condition, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know if the department has been provided with a completed resource form from the mother?
I have not seen one. I know she was provided with one, but I have not seen it returned.
Okay. Have you been provided any names of family or close, fictive kin or anybody from any of the family members? Has her mom provided you with other names or anything like that?
No, ma'am. The grandmother did state that they wanted placement, so I discussed the concerns with them.
Okay.
So they are aware of what they need to do, but they didn't discuss any other relatives.
Okay, and did Mr. Dever, was he provided with a resource form? If you know,
I did not provide him with one. I believe investigations did, but I don't quote me on that. I'm not certain.
Okay, so I guess you don't know if there is one. So you haven't seen one completed by him.
I have not.
Okay, has he provided you, just in talking to him, has he provided you with any names of possible placements?
He didn't, as I stated before, he didn't provide a name, just that he has a brother in San Antonio that works for the sheriff's office.
Okay. And without stating where the baby is, the child is, how far away, what's the distance when we, if we start talking about access for these parents and for this child to his parents, what's the distance roughly? Do you know? Is the child placed a couple of hours away or?
So I did discuss with the foster parent what visitations would look like when we got to that point. She's approximately 55-ish miles away, but she does work in Liberty County. So
Okay.
she's willing to, she also has certain days that she is off, that she works from home and that she's willing to transport down. So it'll be able to be worked out.
Okay, thank you. I pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gott.
No questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Downing.
You said earlier that Mr. Dever told you what he was charged with. What did he tell you he was charged with?
He said he was charged with, well, his statement was he's charged with assault with a deadly flashlight, is what he told me.
No further questions.
All right, thank you. Back to you, Mr. Hip.
No further questions, no further witnesses.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, Ms.
I
Trousdale.
have a follow-up. I think I forgot to ask Caleb.
Sure.
Caleb, have you been provided any medical history on mom, including mental health?
Just information from the maternal grandmother, nothing official.
Okay. Thank you. That's it, Judge. Thank you. I have no further questions, and I have no witnesses, Judge.
Right, thank you. Mr. Gott, you don't have anything further, do you?
No, sir. Just the agreement we put on the record last Friday.
Yes, very good, very good. Mr. Downing?
I just call costs, Your Honor.
Yes. Ms. Martin? There we are. And you were sworn, ma'am?
Yes, but that would be Jolynn Reynolds.
Okay, very good.
I'm right here.
And you were sworn in, ma'am, yes?
Yes, sir, I was.
Thank you so much. You may proceed.
Ms. Reynolds, if you can kind of just let the court know what's been going on with the child.
He came into care low weight, not reacting to stimuli around him. Now he is probably pretty close to what he should be. The ECI is there. They are working with him. He's meeting some goals that they need. So he is getting caught up. He is eating over 20 to 24 ounces in a day. Has started daycare the last week. They say he's real nosy, so he has trouble sleeping because he wants to see what's going on. But yes, she's working with him to make him get him up to date.
Do you have any concerns about the child right now?
Right now, no, not at all.
Is there anything that the child needs but he's not receiving?
As far as I know, yes. She didn't mention anything when I talked to her last week. She was good.
Okay. Do you have any concerns about the current placement?
No.
Have you been made aware of any other placements?
No, I have not.
And have you talked to either parent?
I haven't had a chance. I am going to try to visit with Dad, hopefully Friday, and then maybe Mom if they will allow me.
I will pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hip.
No questions.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Trousdale.
I know you haven't spoken with Mom, but have you spoken with her mother?
I have not. I have looked into the mom. I've read the reports that were sent me. I'm going to get with Caleb to get the contact information and see if I can contact her.
Okay. And have you identified any other family members?
And not at this time.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gott, and then back to Mr. Downing.
Nothing for me.
Okay. All right. Anything further, Mr. Downing?
No, Your Honor, nothing further.
Okay. Let me ask, Mr. Blanchard, are you still there? I know you're necessarily multitasking.
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay. What is the department's position on any visitation with the maternal grandmother?
I would have to staff that with my supervisor.
Has she requested it?
She didn't request visitation. She did request placement, though.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anything else from anyone else? All right. Any requests for closing arguments?
Yeah.
All right. If
And Judge, I just can't. I would only say I can't say with certainty my client's position at this time, but I mean recognize that she's not able to care for the child due to her being in the hospital. But we will certainly work on hopefully placement with family or friends as soon as possible. And then if once she's out and reunification can occur sooner than later, I'm sure I'll be advocating for that. But as of today, Judge, I don't know that I can even make a statement one way or the other with regards to the child.
Okay.
Or what my client wants.
Okay. And from the testimony, it sounds like your client is actually in fairly dire physical condition as well.
Fragile condition. Yes, sir. And I have not talked to the guardian ad litem yet, and that's my fault because I was in court. But I don't know if you want to hear from her, but I've not heard from her. So
I did hear earlier when I inquired, Ms. Lindsay has not had an opportunity to visit with the mother yet, assuming that she did not was not able to do that during our recess. And I know she was just very, very lately appointed. So
yeah.
I would be, and hopefully you all have each other's contact information. I will be receiving a report from her, either written or oral at the status hearing on February the 2nd at 9. And we expect that to be in person.
What was that date, Judge?
February the 2nd. February the
Okay.
2nd at 9, yes. And
You have that.
Okay. I hope you all are hearing me. I did get a sign that my internet was unstable. So Ms. Lindsay will receive your report at the status hearing.
Yes, Judge.
Then, and thank you very much. Okay. All right. Well, before announcing the status hearing, I should have, and I hereby do, make the, based on the evidence and the best interest and the safety of the child, make the requisite 262 findings, and hereby names the department there are no parents present to admonish as they are hospitalized and incarcerated. The court does, if I didn't earlier, note the father's agreement that was put on the record back on the 5th when we were last in person, last in court on this case. Okay, anything else from anyone else?
That's all.
Okay, all right. Thank you all very much for your work on this case and for this family. So we'll see you back February the 2nd at 9 a.m. for a status hearing, and I'll sign orders that comport with my ruling. So if there's not anything else, thank you all very much. Have a great rest of your week, and we're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.